But just about everything else that you would need a police station for, we can do virtually. We can do it online, or you can get from any different police station. You don't have to go to any one particular police station. So, you know, I want people to kind of remember that, because these buildings are only big enough to accommodate so much. How many of you live within a block or two of the station? So when you start to see workloads in different neighborhoods spike up, and then you keep adding officers to deal with that spike, which we've been doing for a few years, the 1st district, the 6th district, and the 3rd district in particular, you can't park in the neighborhood anywhere near that station. Why? Because the police officers have all the parking spaces. Our lot is full, every block around the police station is full, and you can't park, so the neighbors are getting mad. And the officers are getting mad because they got to walk 5 blocks to get to the station. I just had an officer in 6D ask me last week if I could knock this wall down so they could have a shorter walk to the station from where they got parked. So our infrastructure is overloaded in the districts where we've added extra resources just to deal with the rising calls and crime. The last time we did a realignment, because I get asked this all the time, was in 2004. So it's about 7 years ago. And the one before that was 7 years before that. And there's some interesting facts that John found that I'll show you at the end. So the things that create unequal workload, in policing. Think about what you've seen happen in Washington, D.C. I'm going to give you some statistics in a minute. But think about what's happened in the last 7 or 8 years in Chinatown. Right? Significant increase in condominiums. Come on in, sir. Have a seat. Welcome. Significant increase in condominiums, significant increase in population, and what about the metro ridership down in Chinatown, right? What's it look like in Chinatown on a Friday night? Manhattan. You know, they've had to change travel patterns, they've had to change the roads. So, you know, all of those things, development is a great thing for our city, because development brings revenue, revenue brings improvements, and brings more business. But as we're watching this happen, in the 1st district in particular, you've got all the new condos, you've got all the new, you know, different businesses and places people can come in from Maryland and Virginia. Look at the tags of people riding around in Chinatown on Friday and Saturday night to come and patronize our businesses. But the problem is that the 1st district is so, and this is where the 2 officers were assaulted the other night that I talked about earlier. I had to put a 10-man detail just to handle Chinatown. 10 officers and a sergeant, and that's their only job, is Chinatown. And only in the evening, so that we could keep that spike of crime down there. You remember when Chinatown first got busy, we had a ton of complaints about people getting jumped in large crowds of kids, robbing people. So, well, it's not as bad as it was. So, when we looked at the statistics, and I don't know if John's going to be able to get this thing going back up again or not, but I know most of them, and I have a hard copy here, thanks to you, Robbie. So I'll give you some of the statistics. This is just from the past 5 years. And the residential population within 3 miles of downtown has increased by 15,000 residents. The number of office workers in the downtown area has increased by 26,000 employees. The number of visitors to the downtown area has increased by 7 million. Metro ridership, here we go, at Metro Center Gallery Place has increased by 48%. With ridership up 26% on the weekdays and 85% on the weekends. That is a huge increase in demand for police service in a very small area, and we are feeling it. I got 20 seconds? All right. I'm going to keep tap dancing then. So think about what you've seen, and I keep saying 1D, 3D, and 6D, and I'm going to show you the workload in those districts in a minute, but 1st district, you got the Chinatown and all the tourism and development. But in 3D, think about 3D. You got Adams Morgan, you got U Street corridor. I mean, you got Columbia Heights and the mall. You got the Best Buy and the Target, and so all these new condos pop up because people like to live in an area where you can walk to everything you need, right? So you've got all these new condos and all these new residents that can walk to the Best Buy, that can walk to the Target, can walk to the grocery store, and then walk back to their condo. But that's been a huge, huge impact both in residential and visitor population. And I don't have to say, you all know the impact that a series of ABC establishments can have. Well, the 3rd district has 4 or 5 very large areas that are just filled with ABC establishments. You know, and in the U Street corridor now, you go down U Street now on Friday and Saturday night, it's almost as bad as Chinatown. And that's competing with Adams Morgan and Columbia Heights. So all in one district. I just can't keep cramming cops into 3D, they can't keep up. And again, the radio's gotten to a point where they just can't get on the air. Thank you, John. That was about 30 seconds, but. When we looked at this, and the other thing, Nationals Park. When National Park, remember how excited everybody was when Nationals Park came online? Well, what that meant for me is every time there's a game, and there's 81 home games a year, every time there's a game, I got to stack those traffic posts and pull traffic in and out of the stadium, or otherwise people aren't going to come. So 17 traffic posts, that's 17 police officers for 81 games throughout the season. And then I got to put a mountain bike patrol out in the neighborhoods where a lot of people park, because what happens if they park in the neighborhood for a 7 o'clock game and they come walking back out to their car at 9 o'clock? They get robbed. So we put bike patrols in the neighborhoods, and we put 17 officers on traffic posts that are there at the beginning and the end of the game to help facilitate traffic flow. So that was another huge drain on us. You got the other ones I've mentioned, but when we looked at these crime projections that we do, and we looked at the economic development, if we're going to redistrict, we've got to think about not just what the demand is today, but what's the demand in the next 5 years. Because we don't want to do this again for another 5 to 7 years. This is a lot of work, and it's difficult to do. So we looked at some of the stuff that's going to come online. Look at St. Elizabeth's, the St. Elizabeth's campus. They're getting ready to have the Department of Homeland Security